oh boy, we got us a young. I'm an old head now. So I can be in these situations now. You know what I'm saying? I can be in these type of situations now. You know what I'm saying? I could be in these type of situations now because I'm an old head. Anthony Edwards, sir, would you please come to the front of the congregation like that word with you? The old heads would like to have a word with you. Come to the front of the congregation, sir. I'd like to talk to you. Come to the front of the congregation, brother. We'd like to have a word with you, Anthony Edwards. What the fuck made you say that dumbass shit that you said, boy? Do you know how stupid you sound? You know how stupid you sound, boy? You sound stupid. Okay? But without further ado, let's get right into this.
Well, it was just a little over a week ago that the Ant-Man made major waves by opening his uneducated mouth and spouting his ignorant lunacy in a desperate and pathetic attempt to, for some reason, discredit not merely Michael Jordan, but virtually every all-time great player that came before him and his era. And why does this have to become the running theme? Moron player of this generation opens mouth and inserts foot. This time, it was Anthony Edwards in an interview with the Wall Street Journal. The comments started innocently enough with him saying, quote, "I didn't watch it back in the day, so I can't speak on it." Bingo! Ding, 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 we have a winner. Absolutely and unequivocally correct. You don't know shit about what you're talking about, Anthony, so likely it's best to just do exactly that and not talk about it. Unfortunately, he continued to say that, quote, "They say it was tougher back then than it is now. But I don't think anybody had skill back then. Jordan was the only one that really had skill. You know what I mean?" So that was why when they saw Kobe, they were like, "Oh my God." But now everybody has skill. No, Anthony, we don't know what you mean. And somehow this cretin managed to single-handedly insult every player that has existed outside of this era. And, well, the Magic Man took notice and had a little message for Edwards, saying, quote, "I don't respond to a guy that's never won a championship. There's nothing to really say. He didn't win a college championship. I don't even know if he won a high school championship." Now, in fairness and in fact-checking Irv, Anthony Edwards did in fact win a high school championship, but he did not win at the collegiate level, and he is still searching at the NBA level. That is despite the fact many dubbed the Minnesota Timberwolves the de facto favorites to win the NBA chip this past postseason midway through the playoffs after they thoroughly destroyed the Phoenix Suns in the first round 4-0, then overcame a 3-2 series deficit against the reigning world champion Denver Nuggets while storming back from down 20 in Game 7 on the road in that series. However, once they got into the West Finals as a pretty substantial favorite against the Dallas Mavericks, they completely choked and got their ass stomped out by those Dallas Mavericks in just 5 games, mind you. And that was despite the fact the total margin of differential through the first 4 games of that series was just 18 points, which was the lowest in Western Conference Finals history for the first 4 games of a series. But the minuscule performances of the skill-less Anthony Edwards was crippling for his Timberwolves team. Edwards had just 19 points on 6 of 16 shooting in Game 1, a 3-point home loss, and he then had just 21 points on 5 of 17 shooting in a 1-point loss in Game 2 to drop to an 0-2 hole heading on the road for Game 3. And in all, during that 5-game gentleman's sweep, Edwards barely cracked 40% from the field shooting. So perhaps not everyone today has skill, huh, Ant-Man? One guy, though, that undeniably does have the skill set Edwards must be referring to is a certain European who can barely dunk a basketball but was cooking the entire Timberwolves roster in that Western Conference Finals round. Of course, we're talking here about Luka Doncic, and the Wolves weren't alone in the Luka cookery. It was the entire league last season getting torched by him, as Doncic finished the season third in MVP voting, was first-team All-NBA for the 5th straight season, and led the league in scoring at nearly 34 points per game. Anyway, it is uncertain if Anthony Edwards even knows who Larry Bird is, but at this point I'm leaning towards no. Perhaps he should look into him, as in the 1984-85 NBA season, the year Michael Jordan entered the NBA, otherwise known as the quote, only guy with any skill back then, Larry Bird was MVP of the league. In that season, Bird averaged 29 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 6.5 assists per game, while leading the NBA in player efficiency rating, win shares, value over replacement, and box plus minus. It was the middle season of a 3-year run of Bird winning 3 consecutive league MVPs. Oh, and he posted a career head-to-head record of 23-11 against Michael Jordan. Now, while Jordan had dreadful supporting casts during this span of time in his career, the important takeaway is that there were several other players who possessed plenty amounts of skill in the league while Jordan was playing. In fact, also in the league during this same time was Earvin Magic Johnson. You know, the guy who just put Anthony Edwards in a body bag over his inept comments. And he wasn't alone, as Kevin Garnett recently responded as well to Edwards and went scorched earth on him in the latest episode of The Ticket and the Truth.
It was too physical. And guess what? The league had to come off of it for the flow of movement to be able to have scoring go up, which is why we like to sit here and watch kind of the rat race of the high-paced game, right? But bro, let's not talk about the gamemanship, and let's not talk about the physicality of the game back then. Real shit, because I only think half these kids in the league could have been on an NBA team 20 years ago.
Garnett continued to go off on the entire state of the league today as a whole in what likely deserves its own standalone video.
And it wasn't no, you was out 2-3 games, man. Your teammates, hey bro, what you doing tonight? You going? Nah, I can't go, man. My toenail off, man. I can't. Bro, 20 years ago? Nah, nobody in this era could have played 25 years ago. We said that.
Ultimately, look, it is difficult to quantify things like skill or truly to determine which era of player was better, as these things are somewhat subjective and within the eye of the beholder. But for whatever reason, this pampered, petulant era of losers are the ones that continually feel the need to denigrate the other greats that came before them. Why is it that all of the other players that hailed from other eras routinely spoke favorably of those that came before them, yet the uneducated shill players and fanboys today have to perpetually disrespect those that came before? Why is it that we cannot all just celebrate and appreciate greatness? Perhaps in the case of Anthony Edwards, it is because many were comparing him to Jordan prematurely in the early stages of these most recent playoffs, only to expose himself in the Western Conference Finals. Maybe he is feeling the pressure to live up to those comparisons and already feels as if he is incapable of meeting them. So perhaps it's best for him to just shut his mouth rather than continue masquerading around as a fake-ass alpha, since we all know there really isn't any of them around in today's NBA. A watered-down, pitiful little product.
Hey, man. Real talk, though. To say that there was no skill back in the 80s or the 90s, we gotta stop this nonsense, bro. This is why I don't be in these type of discussion rooms, but these videos do come up from time to time. Listen, man. The 80s, there was skill back then, okay? The 90s definitely had some skill back then, bro. You didn't just have Jordan. You had Barkley. You had Reggie. You had Shaq and Penny. You had, bro. You had so much. You had a variety back in them times. You had a variety of skill back then. So for anyone to sit up here and say, oh, there was no skill back in these times, you a fucking buffoon. You're a fucking idiot if you think that, bro. There was definitely a lot of skill back in it, especially in that 90s, bro, when Jordan was at his top, was at his most dominant. Hella skill. Hakeem Olajuwon. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? How much more skill do you need? David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, John Starks. You know what I'm saying? Mamu Abdul Rauf. Well, I can't pronounce his name. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but y'all know who I'm talking about. Like, bro, there was hella prototypes, like Grant Hill. There were so many prototypes to the players that you all see today. There were prototypes, and then there was the complete version of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta stop this nonsense, bro. Cause the players, well, how do you think a lot of these players become great? They study other greats. You don't think there was great players in the 90s besides Jordan? Come on, dog. Stop the cap, bro. Stop the nonsense, bro. Do your research, man. That's why I can't be in these NBA discussions, man, because it's just, it's the young generation versus the new generation. Like I said, I'm officially an old head now. I done lived through the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now the 2020s, bro. I done seen it all, and I appreciate the greatness of each era that I've sat through. Each decade that I sat through, I enjoyed the greatness. Now, I cherish the 2000s a little bit more because that's my childhood. And a lot of my basketball inspiration came from the 2000s, more so than the 2010s or the 2000 and or the 2020 so far. But man, the disrespect to people in the 90s and the 80s is ridiculous, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really invested into basketball when the NBA TV channel became free. Well, when they finally stopped making it a premium package and just put it with the basic package with the rest of the cable provide with all the cable providers. Once it became just a basic programming channel, bro, I was locked in, and that's how I figured out about the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds and the Dr. J's and all that stuff. That's how I started finding out about all them, because when the NBA channel became a part of the basic package plan for cable. You know what I'm saying? So that was my introduction into learning the game, man. So maybe, and that was before YouTube. You know what I'm saying? That was before YouTube. So learning about the NBA and all the greats that came back then, you know what I'm saying? Like, now y'all got YouTube. Y'all can literally type these people in. You can look up their stats. You can watch their videos. You can see how they did things and how they transformed the game. You can see who they inspired. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, we really got to stop with this, bro. We have the technology at our fingertips to watch these people. Back then, it wasn't that easy. You know what I'm saying? Unless you had cable. But outside of that, though, man, we got to stop with this, man. And if you're going to be in the NBA, at least take the time to educate yourself. So that way you can learn from other players to grow your game. That's the problem. A lot of players out here ain't growing their game. And that's why they getting ran over and only making it to the second round. And then they getting bounced in the first round almost every fucking year. Then they cry like, oh, ain't nobody helping me. And then they go ask for a trade. Then they team up with two other niggas that's on another team. And they still fucking fail. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, dog, how about you learn the game? Because that's what made a lot of players great back in the day, was when you learned the game. See, now everybody just want to team up with each other and take the easy way out. That's not going to work no more, man. Learn the game. Once you learn the game, you will become a better player. But I digress. But anyways, so that's just all I got to say for right now. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment section below. I'll get back to you till then. Peace out.